Greetings everyone, welcome back. Today is just another day of exercise where I'm going to crack out a ballpoint pen, which is not going to stay there because that's just how it goes, as well as like a white ink gel-like pen, which these are fun. I don't know if I'll end up using this or not. We shall see. But yeah, no, we're going to use this, which is a Mont Blanc Leonardo ballpoint pen. So kind of what I was thinking was do a doodle of sorts, but a little more involved, and but have it as an angel. And not to be super sinister, but perhaps a fallen angel that kind of regrets the choice. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. So it's kind of fun to think about where you want ideas to come from and where you want them to go. Huh. I might have actually, sort of, but not really, kind of run out of ink with this. I don't know. It started off kind of funny. It seems to be doing okay now. Yeah, a little bit. But no, not really going anywhere in particular with this. Beyond the original sort of, let's see what can come out of it. Could be a little more Picasso, I guess, huh? It's weird when you sit down with ideas and just want to know where they could go. Right now I'm being yelled at by one of my housemates. Kind of seems like fun. We're just dancing around. I'm kind of under the impression that we like to have humanoid-like things when we want them to compare to us. And I don't know if it's always necessary to do that. You can have angels with eyes and wheels and that kind of thing. Sometimes, an angel might take the form of childlike looking creatures or an elderly person or a young woman. I don't know. Eyes within wheels. perhaps animals, this chin might be a bit much. I don't know why long hair. Is that necessary? Don't know. So let's say we could change how this torso might work. What if we had a pivot in the neck? Rather than down. They have the skull here. You could have a thin shoulder, perhaps. And because of that pivot in the neck, we can have the left shoulder drop. Tricep up a little bit. Collarbone. Bicep. It's kind of interesting. You can add a bit more expression to the eyes after if we need to. Or a little bit now. We'll darken them just slightly. Set them in kind of a socket of sorts. Some shading under the nose, sure. The neck itself. Hmm. It's interesting. I don't mind this face, but I kind of feel like it should be a little lighter, maybe. So let's try just a different thing. I'm just setting up a very light outline on kind of like a skull, but not really a skull. So just figuring out sockets for the eyes. We'll worry about the eyelids and stuff after the fact. Continue with the high cheekbone though. Set in at the temple. Just slightly. Not a super tall skull, but a slight taper in the jaw. Sort of sunken in cheeks. This is kind of the fun thing about using a ballpoint pen, I think, is that the ball itself, as well as the housing of the very tip of the ball, you can use for kind of like a smudging effect, which I think is pretty fun to do. It saves you on making hatch lines, I should say. So I almost think that an alien-like start to an angel, I almost like a little bit better. An alien angel-like head. Like a higher plane being may not need to be much more than resembling what humans look like. And may not even really need bone structure. So, do they need to have elbows? They certainly don't need to have belly buttons. They would not have been born as humans might be, as mammals might be. So what kind of eye can we give this angel? It was the original concept to say that it's an angel that may or may not have regretted the choices that they've made. It seems interesting. I don't know. what kind of expressive eyes. So when I think of drawing eyes, I often will think about the structure of the face and a purposeful brow that would protect the eyes. So often I think, well, the brow should stick out further. So if, a softball, if you got hit in the face with a softball, it would protect your eye from getting direct impact from that. So, I don't know. I would say I kind of like that face more so than this face. For an angel. The angel would not need ears necessarily, or voice box necessarily. Just resembling the humanoid is probably enough. Yeah, definitely like this better. So, we're going to put in other means of clothing or something. Well, let's face it, there's no real need of modesty for a creature of some higher dimension. They need to relate to us as much as possible. And why have unclothed creatures running around as messengers? We don't necessarily need that. And again, do we care about hair? I don't know. I don't think we care that much about hair. But let's put some in anyway. So, do we want like a widow's peak, straight across, cool afro, long flowing hair? I don't know why we like to see angels with long flowing hair. So we don't have to draw every strand. With a center part. Interesting. So I'm going to set that pen aside for a moment. We are going to go heavy now. We'll give some of these strands a bit more weight. Whether or not there are tear ducts being used for the sadness of choice, we could have at least tears in the rain. I mean, we don't really want people to be sad. But if an angel has made a not so great choice and had a moment to think about eternity and those choices that were made, it would make you wonder a little bit, stop and pause a little bit. As I said, we've parted the hair from the center. We get a little darker as it moves back. A few strands of hair kind of make their way out. I find this part to be the interesting part, because you don't always just want to make it seem as if you have hair coming from the chin if you don't have that as an intention to have hair coming from the chin. So sometimes light needs to come through there. I think that's a much better face. to what I kind of was thinking with the concept. More so than that. I think, yeah. So for fun, while we're playing around in the sketchbook, let's see if we can fix some part of this. And we'll let some of our creativity anyway take something that may or may not have been fun. Let's see if we can make something out of it. And I'm a big fan, by the way, of just not investing in something if you don't think it's going the way you want it to. Especially in a sketchbook. Lessen the this one we will also do a little bit of that Tears in the Rain look as well. Sometimes you get an idea, you just sort of run with it. And my oh my, you don't like the way it goes. But you can kind of develop something from it. Salvage something. So here, we're going to add the pupils, because we're now able to perhaps put the gaze somewhere. cheekbone is rather strong now, considering where I put some of the shading, but so what we're going to do now is we're going to change who this might be as part of the conversation. And maybe just I do not know yet. A little Elvira like there. Right now I'm deepening the sockets just a little bit. That looks a little meaner now, doesn't it? Now we're going to think a little bit about the light source, more so. It's really just kind of silliness. Because how can we have darkness on this side of the face if it's also over here? That doesn't make sense unless there are two light sources. Or a shadow's being cast in the weirdest kind of way. Not really top down. But I've left some glow in the hair, perhaps suggesting more top down. So if that's the case, let's go with a bit more top down. Let's get back to the Leonardo for its smudge. A lot more nose if the nose sticks out. jaw. A bit more of the lip. The underside of the jaw would hide in shadows too. You wouldn't get much of it. So it is here that you can get away with bringing out your paintbrush with your water or using a brush pen. And you can use that to toss in a lot more shade. The bridge of the nose should be able to get some of that top-down light, a bit of the high cheekbone, should be able to get some of that top-down light. More of this underside of the upper part of this eye socket. Interesting. Well, sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to. Sometimes it does. That is okay. That is the process. The eyes glow. More of that is going to be hidden in the shadow as well. Pretty muddy image now. All right. Well, then the last thing, let's see about something else, just for fun. Let us just try a quick figure of something. If the head is here, body is here. So what I'm doing just for fun is coming up with a semi-dynamic pose. Kind of based on what I started up here, but not really. Where you might have some conversation, perhaps. And if we were to have this particular creature, angel, what have you, they're the one trying to figure out some stuff. Interesting. Well, I think that's kind of it for today as far as doodling goes. Yeah, you don't really need to go too far into something if you don't feel like it. I think that's the funnest part about not really doing anything in particular, just having an idea to just sort of explore, see where it goes. And then at some point in the future, you might come back to it and go, there's some part of that I like. I'll probably keep that. And maybe you'll never come back to it. But this just gets kind of worked into your mind for an unreferenced something or other that you were going to go use for something else, just a part of something. And that's not so bad to do. Well, I think that's it for now. If you've joined along with a pen and paper, thank you very much for joining along. Yeah, it's just kind of fun once in a while to go nowhere in particular, jog in one spot. And you try to figure out when you're supposed to set down the pen, which I am just about to do. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, or morning, or whatever time of day. Until next time.